Okay, let's continue where I was. So I was looking for, there's a search function that I could probably use, kind of like piggyback for that. So owner select unit, selected unit equals owner game get aspect board, get tile unit. So the one I'm currently on, this is select move target, Okay, right, down here. So this is when I selected the unit, I select the tile, and now what I'm going to do is using the unit's distance, I'm going to do a search on enter, on exit, on move event, on fire event. So it would be here on enter. Yeah, I show them here. Tiles in movement range is a list of tiles. So I get that list from here. And I get that in the movement system. I get tiles in movement range. Owner selected unit. So the selected unit, I get the range. See, I do a search here and a filter. And then I return that after it's been filtered. So what's the search do? Right here. What I'm doing here, oh yeah, there's a weird add tile. Tile function. System function. T1, T2, T3 out result. T1, T2, T3. T1 is tile, T2 is tile, T3 is unit. I don't know what this does. Probably nothing, to be honest with you. What is add tile? A function. I'm not going to lie, I don't know what this is. Unit, function, add tile. Right. And add tile is here. I need a tile unit. Tile unit. Right. If add tile, okay. Within the inner loop, we will first verify that we actually got a tile reference. Remember that we are on non-squared boards, which could have holes. And if so, we will compare the distance with the mark. Okay. Yeah, the search function is going to be a bit of a pain, but I might be able to just grab this. This is under the movement system. It needs a unit, but I don't necessarily want it to need a unit. Because if I'm here, and I selected this one, like this, I selected here, now I'm here. Well, from here I want to do a search. I don't want a unit to be on there. So if there's some sort of constraint where I need a unit, then no. But it could refer to the original unit as well, depending on what it's doing. Clear search. Okay, so list tile return value is a new list. Return value add unit.tile. So what we're doing here is right away we're adding the units tile, which is fine. Then what we do is we're clearing the search. What does clear search do? Let me just go F12 on that. For each tile and container get aspect board system dot tiles dot value. Dot values. T previous tiles dot values. Tiles in container get. Okay, so in the board system we have a list of tiles. It's actually a dictionary. And they have values. What we're doing is for each one, we're going previous, we're clearing, right. So the tiles, they hold on to data individually themselves. Every time a search is done, it holds on to it, so you know, sort of like it's used for pathfinding as well and things like that. What I'm doing here is the previous and the distance from a search that might have happened before. We're clearing that because we're going to be overriding those new values. And the distance max value, really? Wow. Okay. So we're just maxing out the value. We're clearing the data on those in a way that makes it so that we're ready to start over on a search. So if I go back to here, clearing the search, we're getting that ready to go. Q tile, check next, check now. Okay, so the way this is really like I don't know if this is A star exactly, but it kind of makes me think of it. But it's no, because it doesn't use a weighted. But still, okay. Zoom in a bit. Let's see here. So we got two Qs. We got a check now, next, and a check now. And those are Qs. So unit tile distance equals 0. So the tile that we already added to the return, we're setting the distance on that one to 0, right? And then what we're doing is we're doing a check now.enq unit tile. So we're doing a check now. So check now.enq So check now is here. Okay, so we're adding the tile, this tile here that we put at 0 and that we've already put in a return list. We're adding that to the check now list. So what we're doing now is every time there's going to be something in the check now, we're always going to be running this loop until that gets empty. And we're probably popping them out later down here. Eventually, the check now is going to be empty. And then we can keep going through. But until that happens, we're always going to be doing this stuff here. So what are we doing? We're going to be doing a DQ. We're going to go into check now DQ, right? The tile. So we're basically putting the NQ, the tile of the unit, into the check now, and now we're popping it back out here, and we're putting it into tile T here. Now what are we doing with this tile? We're going to be checking in the 6 different directions, right? Tile.next. We're creating a new tile here. This is something new. And next, what is next going to be? Well, it's going to be, we're going to get a container, we're going to go into the board system, and we're going to get a tile. Right? So the board system is a back-end system that holds our board, and it also holds functionality for how to get things and manipulate that board or get data from that board. And what we're doing now is we're going to be getting a tile, and what we want to do is we want to get the point, which is equal to the axial coordinates. It's getting the axial coordinates. Okay, I'm taking the axial coordinates of the one of the on the unit tile to start with, right? And from there, I'm going to be checking the directions. I'm going to be adding or subtracting the axial coordinates in such a way that I'm looking in each and every direction. And how am I doing that? I'm doing that because I'm iterating through it 6 times, right? Starting at 0. So this is going to be direction 0 in the index, the direction 0, the direction 1, the direction 2, the direction 3. Each time, I do this whole thing, and what's happening is that directions is movement system. Is in the movement system, so that's actually up here, right here. So I go to the first one, 0. I want to move in my current tile. I want to move in this direction, which is northeast. then I'm going to move into this direction, then I'm going to move into this direction, then I'm going to move into this direction. For each tile I'm checking. And then when I have that, what I want to do is I want to check if next equals null, right? So if whatever happens, it returns null, right, in the get tile thing, because the get tile is checking the existing tiles that exist. If it comes back as null, or if the next dot distance is smaller or equal to t dot distance plus 1, so I don't want to move in something that's got like a distance further than, so I guess there are circumstances where that could happen. I'm not sure what that would be, but we'll continue. If not, we break out, but we'll continue. So next thing is we're going to add that tile. So we're adding, this is interesting, this is that function from up here. Do I have, what if I have 12 this? No. What if I have 12 this? Bring me up here. What is this function? Sorry, I'm not sure what that is. If add tile, so if the tile t, so if the unit tile or the current tile and the next tile, I'm doing something with the unit. I'm not sure what this check is. I'm going next dot distance equals tile dot distance. Yeah, so I'm adding 1 to the current tile selected on this new tile. The previous one is going to be this one. So that's when I do a search cleared. These values have been cleared. Now I'm assigning these new values from this search. And then I do a check next. I'm adding I'm adding this new tile that it found into the check next list, essentially queue. And then I'm returning the value. I'm adding this next one into the return value. And then what I'm doing here is I'm going back up into the while loop. No, now it's doing if check now dot count equals 0. Swap reference. Right, so now what I'm doing is it would be 0 because there was only one in there, the unit one originally. Now that I've popped that one out, the unit one that was in there originally, check now is at 0. And if it is at 0, let's swap these references out. Now, check now is being replaced by check next, right? And in check next, I just basically added 6. If there was 6 around it, I would have gone through this 6 times. Now go ahead and add that. Go ahead and add that to the check now. And while check now is true, and in this case now we have 6, it would be. So for each one of those tiles, we're just going to go ahead and loop through that. So this is really nice. This is a search. We are in the movement system, which is interesting. Because this is perfect. All I need to do is, I'm not sure what, see, I'm using unit, but I just need to think, because I don't want to rewrite all this and have it twice with little changes. There might be a way for me to just keep this and make the changes I need and use it a little bit more modularly. But I don't know what this is. This is what's kind of throwing me off. Function, tile, unit, and a bool. Function. Function. You know what? No. Oh. Maybe it's this here. Add tile. Is allowing for me to. It's because it's not something I usually do. I never do this even. And you know, there are ways to do certain things. In this case, this is a function of search, right? That would be in this class. But if I went in here and I wanted to create a new function, which the way I would do it normally would be, you know, I would just say, yeah, I would just say public, we'll call it point, and we'll do hello, and it's going to take in a float x, float y, it's probably going to complain about something. The public is not valid for this item. That can work. Just says it's never used, but it's there in this function. I was thinking maybe that wouldn't have worked because it needs to be done this way. Not sure why that's there. But I think I'm just saying kind of what I just did is I'm just saying when I reference this search, what am I putting into it? Let me see. Oh, expand search. I'm sending a function in there. Oh, what does expand search do? Tile unit. So what it's doing is it's expecting you to send in a function that takes in these things. And in this case, we're calling that function, which is expand search add tile. No, can it be? Expand search. Return from dot distance. Is this whole thing commented out? Expand search unit, expand search unit range equals return from distance, from dot distance plus 1 is smaller or equal to unit dot range. Okay. So what I'm doing here is the expand search is doing a check on if the distance of that tile, these two tiles, from tile, so the unit tile, to tile, the current tile that is being checked, is that within this unit's range? Theoretically, you could just do unit and tile So instead of unit range, it could just be distance wanting to search, right? If tile contains a unit, there'll be a range on there and I can grab it that way, or no, I could just say range here and I could pump in unit.range. See, this here is the part that, to me, because it's kind of tying itself to the unit specifically, if I want to start using this search functionality a little everywhere and not necessarily having to have it tied to a unit, how could I do that? How could I use it with a unit? And how could I use it if I want to use it just because I selected a tile and I want to count the distances from there with no unit on it? See this though, I think well that's what exactly what it is that it's just taking in expand search here, add tile. I don't know why it's called add tile. It could just be called expand search. It would be the exact same thing. To be honest, it would be less confusing. I think add tile. Next dot distance. So if this is true, meaning if this is within the range, if this is true, then next dot distance equals t dot distance plus 1. Next dot previous equals t, right? Check next dot in queue, we add it to the queue. Return value dot, so we add it. Nah, you're adding, I guess it's just, yeah. Okay, it's fine. That's neat. I never do any of this stuff like this. I would have done if expand search is true, and then I would have done this. Okay. Thinking. It should really be, I should really be doing a search. See, this is in the movement system. But I could just do a search range of some sort. And that whole search range could be in the board. Where was I looking for this stuff? Board system. Because it's got get tile, it's got all this stuff. The board system should be able to, I should be able to ask for the board system to give me a range to search through itself and give me a list of tiles, and then I'll do with it whatever I want. I think the movement system should ask the board system for what tiles are in range of this unit for the move system. But I think that the search functionality to do that should be in the board system, because that's sort of like what should be interfacing with the board and doing its searches and stuff. So I kind of want to start doing some refactoring here. And that's going to allow for me to separate this part of the unit. I don't want to send a unit into the board system. I want to send a tile into the board system. And I want you to say, I want to say to the board system, this is the tile I want you to search from. And in this case, in the move system, I'll just say, hey, this is the unit. It's currently on this tile. The board system, the movement system will do that. So the tile that the unit is currently on is the one that I'm going to send into the board system for its search, to return to the movement system, for the movement system to then use that list for whatever it needs to do. That makes more sense to me. And the board system, am I in the board system? No. In the board system, oh, it's not even open. There's not much in here. Create tiles, load level data again. Why is this there twice? And that one's doing nothing. This one is completely pointless. Create tile, load level data, get tile, right? Here is just to generate the map. That's not even being referenced. This is probably was placeholder code just to see I have a height and width here. That's not even being used. I had some observers that I'm not even using. All this does, this entire class right now, is just holding a tile list. And a tile list, for some reason, And it, is this even used? And a dictionary of tiles. Which I assume are both exactly the same thing. And that's very redundant. Tiles.add. Tile list. .add. Why? I don't know. Create tile. Very redundant. But I really do feel like I'm going to go into the movement system. Here. I'm bring this over to here. This entire thing search right now. I just want to go see how this is being. Get tiles in movement range. Unit and expand search. And then I do a filter. What is the filter? I take the list of tiles. For each one in that list, tiles dot unit does not equal null. Oh, and I remove it if it contains a unit. Which, you know, I might not want to do depending on some skills. Some characters might want to be able to pass through units but not stop on them. But what I do with this filter is remove, I should really call it remove, whoops. Darn it, what did I just do? Filter. This should be a little bit more readable, like filter out unit tiles. Much more descriptive. Which to me is good. And I can keep that in the movement system, right? Because that could be based off of the unit, the way he moves. And I can start checking things on the unit, like does he have special abilities that allow for him to go through them? So we want to keep them there, but maybe not allow for them to stop on that tile. Stuff like that. So filter out unit tiles is fine. Or filter out tiles with units. I think is even more descriptive. But this search right here, get tiles in movement range, this whole search, I'm going to move it over to this board system. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to search. I could keep a search in the movements and in this system, but it will, inside of this, it will just refer to the one in the board system. Because the search in the movement system could use the unit. But I'll filter that out, you know what I mean? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, where's the board system? Let's see here. We're going to do a, if this returns a value, return value. So we're going to create a new list called return value. And that's fine, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do board system search. See, this is going to be return value equals, it's going to equal basically to container.get.this and all this, all this, all this, all this. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a search. what would be a good name for that? Distance search? Distance search. And the first thing we're going to want to do in the distance search is we want a tile and a tile and a range. Tile, tile, range. I'm just going to write that there like that. Tile, tile. We're just from tile to tile to tile and a range we want to search in. Right? That's going to be what I'm going to want to build. And that's the inputs it's going to be. My range, I'm just going to type unit.distance or unit.range. And then this return value is going to all this is going to be done in here. It's going to already be put in return value. And then I'll just return it. But all this stuff here is going in the board system. To me, that makes a lot more sense. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all this, copy it, and go to the board system. And we'll just find a cool spot, right? Generate hex map, get tile, load level data, create a tile. It's all cool. We'll just put it right here. And we'll do a distance search. Is that what I called it? It is what I called it. Distance search. Cool. A tile, tile, and an int. Function. Tile, tile, int bool. Don't know what that. What the heck? Clear search. Oh, the directions are in the movement. I'll bring that in here as well. I'm just thinking unit, no, search distance, distance search. So I'm going to do tile, tile, and range. I don't need this function. I don't think I need that function. I'll have to figure that one out. But we're going to go with, well, it's going to be tile from tile. And it's going to be a tile to tile. I think. No. It should just be one tile called source tile. Right, we've got the source tile where we're starting our search, and it should just be an int integer. Minus int, not giving me anything. Int dot range. This bit here, this is my expand search part. And my expand search here is its own little function in the movement. That's confusing to me because I don't even know why it's in a separate function. The expand search method will be overridable, but also offer a base implementation which compares the distance traveled against the range of the character. Will be overridable. Right, well, I'll take this. I don't even think it's needed. All I'm doing here is I'm checking the from distance plus 1. Is that smaller or equal to range? I mean, I could literally take this, do this, remove this entire thing. I don't know what add tile is doing there. Oh, because I'm doing a check with add tile as a true or false here. But I don't need to do any of this. Right, I could just do this, I think. One second before I go. From to, from distance. It doesn't even use 2. It doesn't even use 2. Why am I even sending 2 in there? I'm confused. It doesn't even use 2. Very strange. I really feel like what I could do is I could say, what am I got up here? I got from tile and to tile and a range. Is the to tile, I set the 2. Because this is built in with functions in this thing, this was making my brain. Tile from, tile to, unit, unit. See, I get that if it's smaller or equal to unit range. From dot distance. Okay, what am I sending in here from the from? Where's the add tile? I'm adding T. T is the current one. So the current one, current tile dot distance plus 1. If that is smaller or equal to the unit range, the current tile plus 1 from is the current tile plus 1. If there's still room to move, oh, here, I see. It's not even, it's not using it here too. It's just using it in here. Weird way. Okay. Well, I mean, what I could do is very simple, really. I'll take this. I'll put it in the board system as well. And then what I'll do is, I think this is completely out of the, yes, it is. Why is it complaining? Oh, what's going on here? Oh, it should be like, what the heck? Is there missing one like this? And a tile from, tile to, and this is going to be int range. That's all there is to it. And then I don't need to do this. I don't need to do this. And then what I need to do here is I'll keep that distance search thing. I think. Like this. And then and it's going to be a tile int. The bool must be what is returned, I suppose. But what's it complaining about? The type or namespace function could not be found. Are you missing? Well, it could be that this is special. It's a T result system function. Using system. Am I using system in this one? I am not. Will that make it happy? It does. Okay. So that is taken care of. Let's keep working our way down here. So this is the bit of code that I'm sending to this board system. Return value dot add. We're going to add source tile. Now we're going to do a clear search. Now that's another thing I need to add from movement system. This one. I don't need to call it itself. It's not, I'm already in this script, so I could just do this. Okay, that's good. Okay, unit tile dot distance. So tile unit tile dot distance. It should just be source tile dot distance equals 0. Check now dot enqueue source tile. While check now dot count is bigger than 0. Go ahead and do all this. Now directions. I don't have the directions here. So for this, I feel like it should be, is it in the board system or is it in another completely other like metrics system? I think it should be in a metrics system. What else do I have? Swap references. That must be, oh yeah, void swap references. I'll just take this. And we'll just bring it down here. UAQB, good. So right now it's the directions. It's very simple. I could just bring it in from here, like I did it here, right? And just bring this in, bring it up there, directions. And I'd be done. It'd be very, very easy. But if I go to scripts, see, I have hex coordinates, hex metrics, points. See, hex metrics here. I feel like it should just be called directions in its own script. So that way I could use them from anywhere. I don't have to pull in and it would just be hex directions. Data types. Enums. I'll put it in data types and I'll call it hex directions. And all I need is this. Basically. It is not a mono behavior. Huh. Really? It's a list. Why isn't it not? It doesn't want to use points. Points is what? What the hell is points? Data types. Okay, well, that's gonna be a bitch. Not that it is, but I just don't want to deal with it. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna go ahead. Why is Steam open? I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, no. Hex direction, I'm not gonna save that. Hex direction, I'm not gonna save that. I'll just put it directly in the board thing. Movements. These are the ones here. Board system, we'll put those at the top somewhere. And I'll just put a note saying direction, all 6 directions of a hex. All what it would be, all sides, all joining, all directions of a hex is fine. I know what they are. Now let's go ahead and go down here. So now it's not complaining about this, but what is this complaining about? Board system.distance search tile and not all code paths return a value. Oh. Right, so when this is done, go ahead and return value. There we go. So I just moved the distance search functionality in the board system, which anything could talk to, and anything could ask for a list of tiles using a source list and a range to search from, distance search. Or could it be a range search, because I'm using range? Yeah, that makes more sense. Range search. There we go. That way it kind of keeps it similar in naming, a little bit more descriptive. Range search. Now what I'm doing here, I'm going to refactor the movement system for it to still be able to search in the movement system for a unit. But really all it does is it just pushes in the unit's range into the board system for the same results. So here we have the unit itself is going to be unit.range, right? And then the sorry, I just need to find where the search is. Unit expand search. Oh, I see. From tile to tile. Well, the from tile is going to be unit.tile. But the to tile, what is that for? I don't know what that's for at all, to be honest. Oh, because I thought I needed that before, but that was something I didn't do, did it? Source, range. Yeah, all I did is source and range. So source, and range, and this is nothing. Really? What does it want? Oh, it wants the function. Can I do, well, hold on, let me, hold on, let me think. None of this is going to be done here. All I'm going to do now is return the value. So let's do a big delete. But I mean, I could do this. And it would be called expand search. No. No. Can I just, what if I put this? No. Funny, eh? It's just because of the way it's done. If I could do it like this instead. Because this is nice and clean. But it will add the tile. Only if it. Funny. That will make it not angry here. But I think that will break, yeah, this. But I mean, can I not just do this? Like, I feel that will. Right? Nothing's complaining. I don't know why I have to put it up in there. Really have no idea. I mean, expand search, I don't even need to. But I use it here. Weird. Okay. So this right now, I've just moved everything over into the board system, which is great. So, and it should theoretically work with the movement system still. I seem to be having errors. No, I don't. So let's see if I still have all the same functionality. If I click, I should be able to have the range, and I do. It still works, which is excellent. Because what I'm doing now is I'm not in the movement system here, I'm calling search, but I'm calling now it through the board system, and I'm returning that. And then I'm returning that, and I'm still filtering out tiles with units. I return that. So all of it still works very, very good. Now the difference is I call the board system, and I could say, hey, I want you to range search. Here's the source tile, and here's the range. And I could put a range of 1 in order for me to get all of the neighboring tiles. And then I got to do a search on that, all sorts of angle searches. But that was longer than I wanted, but that's what it is. 2 o'clock. I think I'm going to go and do a little something, a little vacuuming, and then I'll come back. All right, that's pretty good.